donations from the county, because that would increase slightly, the population of the town.
Is this all currently milled?
No, this is unincorporated area, so this is county.
Oh,
And technically, we plow, we maintain in the winter Salt Creek all the way to Howard.
Yep.
You know, that, this section is still DOT from Antelope down.
Yep.
So part of this annexation is also so we can take ownership of Salt Creek as well.
What you really need to do
Part of all
is to
that
the
stuff.
existing municipal boundary, that'd be a super simple annexation.
Yep.
But any way you look at it, you really need to do that down to the existing southern, well, both ends, north and south municipal boundary.
So right now, the town of Nunn supplies water to everything under the map is supplied water from the Nunn water system. Sewer is provided by a combination of Nunn and the 201 sewer system, which is, we are a member of that. All of our sewer goes to the 201 that goes down Salt Creek Highway. So as far as utilities are concerned, there's no change in utilities besides they become, the benefit to the landowner is they become a member of the community, a member of the town. So you'd then be responsible for providing trash services, water and sewer at in-district rates, which you already are doing for the entire former Wardwell water and sewer system. And then that's another conversation for another time, but at some point, you will have to look at whether or not people outside of the town boundary should pay an additional between 1 to 150% of the existing water rates. And the reason behind that, without getting too far into the weeds, is that their property taxes and things of that nature, people inside the town, those funds are used to pay for the water and sewer personnel. And so going out of district, they don't get any, there's nothing from those property owners that help pay for their usage essentially.
In kind of a roundabout way, we're subsidizing.
It's
You
not a
are.
roundabout way.
You're directly subsidizing them.
I said correct.
Yes.
So, okay. So let's, so I mean, obviously some of the upsides of this are, some of the upsides are we're gonna increase the tax base, we're going to, you know, sales tax, property tax, other things. Also, we do obviously wanna get the, police department into the town boundaries, that would be a big deal. So,
Areas you're already serving, as far as snow removal, you know, I'm sure police department's responding to an incident that happens down there anyways, if they're notified, you know, because of the proximity. So it's really bringing in an area that you're already providing services to in roundabout ways.
fire too, they've been responding well, they're already providing the service.
Right.
Basically for free.
Well, part of the Salt Creek corridor study that you've done on looking at the MTO is, this is a main section of it that they're proposing to get redone. Right now with it, some of this property being ours, some of it not, and then the property surrounding Salt Creek, if we're able to reclaim Salt Creek up to Antelope and then hopefully put in a turning lane, do all these other things, it makes it a lot simpler for finding funding for it as well. If it's all annexed into our town boundaries, all part of our municipality, we are responsible in ownership of that section of highway and the surrounding properties.
So in regards to Salt Creek Highway, we've had preliminary conversations with the district engineer, and Whiteout would love to offload that section of highway.
Yeah.
But in terms of their processes,
It's not on, I don't know why, that's where it's not on.
oh, it's the camera. Oh.
It's quieter when it's actually on.
Whiteout typically brings the road up to a certain level that road is not currently at before they offload it. Because they don't want to burden a town or whoever's taking it over with a maintenance nightmare.
Right.
So, that's a conversation, that particular section of road is not slated to have any maintenance done in the current transportation improvement plan. So it would be, they're not opposed to moving it up if it was a combination of the town and YDOT working together to make the improvements so that they could then turn it over to the town. And I think a lot of that would go into what the Salt Creek corridor study.
We'll take that upper section of Salt Creek that they redid
Right,
with the on-off ramp. That was beautiful, and they did all that before they turned it over.
correct. And that was part of the agreement with the town to do that interchange, is that the town would take over Salt Creek Highway from West Winds down to Antelope. And that just took a few years to finally get through.
I really wonder if it was just one of those things where they're like, they just assumed we would, and we assumed that we would. They assumed we would, and we assumed we would, and we just never actually like officially signed the
That's
document.
exactly what happened. It was out of sight, out of mind. No one, in YDOT's mind, they had already done it. In the town's mind, you'd already done it, but the legal paper trail was never completed until a handful of years ago.
Okay, so what are we looking at for, like downsides, what are we looking at here?
A larger area to maintain.
Alright, so what about like, because I mean, some of these roads on here, what are we looking at for road maintenance, what are we looking at for, I mean, other than Salt Creek Highway, I'm talking like the ancillary roads that are off to the sides, I mean, are we now beholden to maintaining those roads, where are we at with that?
No, because you'd only be annexing Salt Creek Highway and not most of the other streets or access ways or alleys or unimproved roads. So you wouldn't have to bring them up to current standards. And the nice thing about Barnum's road standards right now is, with the runways, they're not curb and gutter, sidewalk, and all those different things. So if Casper were to annex, say, this same area, they'd have to bring the roads up to Casper road standards, which includes sidewalks, curb and gutter, lighting, and all those different things, and you don't currently have those standards, and it wouldn't apply to Salt Creek Highway. If you were to go, and that was part of the reason for just doing this area here, is that Salt Creek Highway is a state highway at this point, so it's maintained by YDOT. It's up to their standards. It's not up to their standards to turn it over, but it is up to their transportation standards at this point, so you wouldn't have to immediately do any work. The downside is, once you take it over and a massive sinkhole appears, then that's on you, and that's not on YDOT or anybody else. So so the maintenance of the water system, you're already doing that. The maintenance of the roads, you're doing the snow removal, you're not doing the patching, the road overlays, the full depth repairs, you're not doing any of that. So that would be something in the future that you'd have to plan for.
And that could be something, like you said, we could incorporate into us taking it over, though, possibly with those quarter studies that
Right.
YDOT may be willing to help out with that with the overall.
So what do we need to do, if we want to work with YDOT, and how do I ask this question? To have them improve Salt Creek Highway so that we can take it over, what do we need to do to make sure that happens? Because let's say we do proceed with the annexation. I guess spitballing bad, my conspiratorial mind, what I don't want to have happen is we annex all this, and then none of the road gets improved, and then it's the current state it is, which in my opinion it needs to be upgraded a little bit, and YDOT's like, that's yours now. How do we keep that from happening?
By annexing the property adjacent to the road, you're not actually annexing the road itself.
Right.
So the road would, even if we went through, if we said today, this is what we're doing, let's call the people, let's get them all on board, you still don't own the road. Even if you don't own the property, but even if it's within your boundary, that road is still a YDOT controlled road.
Okay.
So it's like 20.
So it's basically, No, sorry, go ahead.
Well, for example, it'd be like 2026 in Mills. I mean, that belongs to the state.
So when that's paid, the state does it.
It is a state responsibility.
So it's basically, it comes down to is that we annex all this property and then YDOT and us work together to improve it and then they just hand it over to us and we accept it. Is that the idea?
And I mean, I invite Ray's comment that this is experience on it may be different, but generally, I think if you annex down to there, it creates a desire, or it kind of focuses YDOT a little bit into transferring it, because YDOT really doesn't like to own secondary highways in municipalities. It's really a pain.
Especially sections of it.
Yeah, and so, generally, they're pretty willing, at least in my experience, to work to get rid of a road that they control.
I mean, that's what they did with north of Salt Creek on McMurray, or north of McMurray on Salt Creek.
And then, that, other examples is, I think there's a fair amount of former YDOT controlled highway within Casper that over the year, I think at one time they controlled all the way down to 15. And that'd be a long time ago, but they were happy to give it to Casper.
I think our biggest challenge is gonna be code enforcement down there, which is what we're facing right now,
Well,
too, is
So that,
getting organized with that, because this is county properties and some of them are very county.
and in terms of downside, it doesn't have anything to do with infrastructure at all, but, it would slightly increase your policing burden. I don't think it increases the fire department's burden at all, because if there's a fire, you're going to it no matter what. The police department's ironically already down there, so I don't know that it massively increases your, policing burden. It probably does increase code enforcement though.
I guess the next question is are the landowners going to want to do this? How does that part work too? So if we do we have to have a majority, is that what it is?
So, there's two, this would be a council or municipality, initiated annexation. And I've set that out in my letter and quote the statutes, and I think Ray gave a handout that does the same thing. But generally what it is with one exception, you do have to put all the landowners on notice, and indeed beyond the immediate properties. And, you need a public hearing, and, if a sufficient number of landowners say, no, we do not want to be annexed, they cannot be annexed. So they could look at the proposed annexation and, say, no, we don't want it. So usually what you have to do really is you have to reach out and assess how many people want to do this beforehand, so you can determine, whether there's buy-in or not. If that's not done, there's no, point in attempting it. The exception to the rule is when a municipality controls 75% of the boundary between it and the property that's proposed for annexation. And under that, situation, they can just go ahead and do it. So with this particular, layout, that's definitely not the case. I mean, you don't have 75% of the proposed boundary.
Okay. I talked to Jason Schertz about it, cause he would be part of this, just kind of putting the feelers out there, and he doesn't have a problem with it. But I was thinking that one of the things that, if we do wanna move forward with it, and we do move to the next step, which I guess is the next logical one, is reaching out to landowners to see if they're interested or not. So whoever we pick to do that, I guess my thinking on it is that if they're interested in doing, or if they are interested, or if they're indifferent, or whatever, we need to basically come up with a list of, this is what will change, these are the pros, these are the cons, and just kind of give them all the information.
And some of that you're actually obligated to do,
Right.
when you review the statute. Some of it, you're required to put together an annexation report with some detailed information, including the effects on water and sewer. And if any of them want it, you have initial assessment, and then have it ready to go, and simply provide it to people, so, you know, they know beforehand.
Okay. Cool. That one took 20 minutes.
So process after you
You're
raise the
like,
ante.
I'm not done.
Oh, yeah, there's more.
I was totally messing around.
It's like, why?
Yes. So, if everything goes hunky-dory and everybody wants in and we just say, yeah, let's do it, then you start the actual process of the annexation, which is a lot of surveying, research and survey work, a lot of legal work on Pat's part. So we're looking at probably 2 to 3 months on the front side to get the annexation report, to get the annexation platting done, to get the survey done, and then I don't even know what Pat's side looks like.
So you have annexation report has to be done, and there's a public hearing aspect that's extremely time sensitive.
Yeah,
It's
I was
very
looking at that.
easy to blow it, where you're like a day over or something like that. So you need that public hearing, and then the council needs to make a series of findings. They're very specific findings on why they wish to proceed and take it in. So it is quite a process, there's a lot of work to get it done.
Okay. And I see that it says not less than 30 days and not more than 180. So you've got that 150-day window, which sounds like a lot, but it's, you blink and it's gone.
Well, on top of it, when you're doing the notice, now we have a little bit more leeway than we did before because of Oil City News and whatnot. But when it was just a Casper Starch review, and it was real easy for it to be on the, yeah, we're gonna run that here soon. And you cannot, I mean, you can't be a day late, so.
So it would, okay, interesting.
Do you have a rough idea of how would it affect the residential properties here? Would it increase their cost? I mean, would there be obvious things they would be averse to?
You know, actually, the answer in my view is no. It may, and I'd invite correction, but it may save them money, actually. For the reason that was mentioned a little bit earlier, is when Wardwell was taken over by Nunn, part of the arrangement is that the fees charged by Nunn would remain the same for a period of years, but statutorily, you do not have to do that. You can charge a higher rate out of district because these are not properties that are within the municipal boundary and are taxed. Now, the thing you have there is, for the time being, the ability to keep them the same. It serves everybody's interests, and it got everything done, and got everybody to where they want it to be long term. But there's a real question, oddly enough, if whether you can do that after that period lapses, because Nunn does subsidize south of the town, and it's, I mean, you know, if we're swimming in cash and none of it matters, I guess maybe you can justify that, but I haven't seen a municipality that's in that situation.
Our water, we got, what do you call them?
Enterprise funds.
Enterprise funds are, I mean, yeah. Our operating budget's pretty tight on the water side, so.
And so what Wardwell did, and Pat will have to correct me if I get my figures incorrect, but they were able to charge a mill levy, and I think that they had a full 8
They did.
mills. And so there's an 8 mill levy for being in the district, and then if you lived in the town, you were also paying the full 8 mills. So that 8 mills fell off. 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I think it finally went completely off 2 years
I
ago.
think it was December 2024, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
And so Wardwell was using that 8 mills to basically pay for everything that the water rates didn't pay for, as far as sending guys out to do this, that, and the other thing. So those 8 mills fell off of their property taxes, and so that the district no longer saw that revenue, and so the town took that over and had to supplement those. So 8 mills came off of everyone that was served by Boardwell Water and Sewer. So the town is now using their 8 mil property tax to subsidize the enterprise fund, essentially.
Right.
So bringing the blue area or whatever annexation you want would bring them back into the 8 mills. So that would help pay for water, sewer, streets, all of those different things. So to answer your question, they would see a new 8 mills, so they saw their 8 mills fall off. Then 2 years later, whenever this goes through, they would see the 8 mills come back on, but it would be the same as it was before, essentially.
And then they never see the higher water rate
Right.
that you probably will have to charge.
That's the opposite.
Right.
When whoever goes and visits and has their sheet of paper, they can explain that, cause that'll be the contentious aspect of it, if it's not clearly
Right.
Correct.
explained.
Do we know how many of these properties are being rented compared to actual owners living in them? That's gonna be hard, because I can guarantee, I have renters, they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care.
It's real easy to find who the record title owners are. That's no problem at all. It's actually harder for us to figure out who a renter is.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, the way it works is it's the record title owners that have to call, not the tenants.
So you might not be actually going door to door, but just calling people and saying.
Sending the letter.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that, I don't know a property value in here, but the 8 mills on, gosh, it's tough to arbitrarily choose one. On Loaf and Jug is, I mean, their water rate, that's not a very good one either, because they're really just flushing toilets. But, you know, trying to look at somebody that uses a substantial amount of water, that extra 50% that you could charge for your water rate is probably far more than the 8 mil levy on the property taxes for most. Yeah, J.W. Williams, for instance, but that's also a high value property, so you know, it's tough to know without picking one and actually getting records from the tax office and all those different things, but for the high water users, they'll save money by not having to pay the additional water rate, I guess, the out of district rate than they would in the additional levies.
So this sounds like a lot of work,
Yeah.
right?
There's a lot of moving parts that you can move this one up and this one might go down, but this one goes up.
What do you guys need from council to support you? Besides just saying, yes, we're gonna do this.
Well, probably what, we would need is you know, I guess a determination that you wanted us to proceed. But the next part of it is, we can determine who owns the real property, that's easy enough to do. But who contacts those property owners is another matter. I mean, I don't know, Ray's office might have somebody, you know, usually in my experience, the lawyer calls you up and says, hey, guess what, I wanna talk to you, it's like, oh, I don't wanna talk to you. So I don't know if you want,
Does it have to be in person
No,
to
it can
person,
be
or
somebody
do a
who's-
certified letter?
it can be, but, you know, there's probably gonna need to be somebody who's a point person with the town. Because some people, they're gonna wanna call someone with the town, you know, and find out, hey, what's going on, why are we doing this, what can you tell me about it? And so, somebody with the municipality needs to kinda be prepared to take that role.
You want to?
I could do it, I just don't know exactly what to say.
Well,
Or
you're a
something.
ways from that point
Right.
Okay,
anyway.
okay.
Because there's some preparatory work to even get there, but, and by that time, I mean, you will have it pretty much fleshed out.
What do you think to get a temperature reading on these property owners before you and Ray dive into a lot of work?
Well, I think you
Might
need to
be
do that.
a good idea.
That's
Yeah.
what we're discussing,
Yeah.
is so having somebody
She's a script.
from the town that can basically talk to people and see, hey, interested in being annexed. And then, what is the percentage? What was the percentage?
To reject it,
Yeah.
off the top of my head, I think it's 75%.
So what would be to accept it? Just a majority or?
As long as you, let me look real quick to make sure I'm not quoting you correctly.
All of that blue area.
So, if more than 50% of the landowners, or if a landowner or landowners owning more than 50% of the area to be annexed file written objections with municipal clerk, within 20 business days after the hearing. So what we're doing is trying to assess what the level of support is before we ever get to a hearing. 'Cause you don't want to get to a hearing and have, a bunch of people object. But that's it. Now, both of those are actually, both of those have to be taken into account, because that's kind of a weird way to do it. So if 50% of the landowners say no, then you're out. Or if 50% of the area to be annexed says no. So you do have in this a couple of really big properties. I don't think they're 50% of the area, but there are some pretty substantial ones. I mean, just looking at it, there's 3 of them that if they were combined would be darn near 50%. And if so, just those 3 landowners said, oh no, I don't wanna do it, and you had 1 or 2 others, you'd be out. So, you have to take both of those into consideration. The interesting thing on that though is that they actually have, so you want to assess what people's views are, but at the time, they kind of have to vote no, basically. Because they've got to write in and say, I don't want to do it. They got to send a certified letter in. So that's how it's determined. And the surprising thing is on these, at least the ones I've seen before, is people will express opinions, but they tend not to do that for whatever reason. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be willing to answer questions if people want, you send the letters, you can give them my phone number if you want to. You tell them about the water rates that they can raise. Potential.
Maybe you and I can put together, make phone calls or something.
You okay with making?
I'd be willing to. All you wanna do is if you send certified letters and then just respond to questions, or if we want to, however you wanna do it.
You might want to take a
You wanna
page
know.
out of when, Wardwell was annexed, and that there was a large town meeting at that. It was over in the fire department, and a lot of people did attend that.
So you mean outside of the public hearing?
Yeah, you might wanna just do an informational hearing beforehand, so that people aren't trying to figure it out during the official hearing.
That makes sense.
And the talking point should be an honest look at pros and cons, without any opinion saying, here's what we know here, here's what we know here. You can give an articulation as to why the belief is to move this route. But
You still reach out to them individually to invite them to this meeting, because how else are they gonna know about the meeting?
Yeah, you might wanna
Get on Facebook.
give them a mail.
Well, no.
Not if it.
No. It's just, every avenue you could think of, do it, because for some folks, there's a lot of misinformation as to what this means, why we're pursuing it.
Are most people receiving paper water bills, or, another thing you can just do is include it in your water bill, with the addresses affected. If you're in this area, just an informational flyer.
Yep,
This is
just like we
proposed
did
for
for the
annexation.
You
Fourth
have
of
to look at
July.
your face like, yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
I do stuff envelopes if you need it. It's not the stuffing envelopes, it's pulling those addresses out of the mass file that gets printed out.
Oh,
So why can't everybody get one then?
That's
I mean, if everybody in Bar Nunn should actually get it if we're trying to annex somebody.
We can send it to everybody.
Yes, we send it the map,
And then it'll be up to them whether they come to the informational meeting.
Yeah, you'd wanna
Just
include the
that.
map there.
include the map in every
Huh?
bill,
Yeah.
considering that.
And it's not so much the properties in Bar Nunn, as the properties in Wardwell. Cause, Wardwell, the old Wardwell district extends all the way to 2026 and then it leaps over. And, it's, you know, when we did, take in the Wardwell district, there was a little bit of confusion, from some folks down south of there, mostly on garbage pickup. Is because they figured, well, you guys should pick up my trash, which is, I don't know how they get it picked up down there, but, you know, we didn't take over that. So you are inevitably gonna get a little bit of confusion from people who are saying, well, you know, I live down by the highway, are you trying to annex me? And the answer is no.
Can they get a copy of the map?
Anybody should be able to get a copy, yeah, the answer should be yes.
With the bill, you know, that the notice that we get with our bill? Get a copy of the map so that they'll know where they're at? I don't know.
Well, no, I think that's the easiest way to
Yeah,
go.
everyone gets it, the map tells you whether you.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have a large number of folks in Bar Nunn proper that are gonna have an interest in this and want clarification anyways, I mean, we're already hearing that, so. Might as well just get ahead of it,
Put it out.
let everybody, and that way things can be clarified.
So again, my concern is people living in these residences are not the homeowner, and they get this in the bill, or they get their bill in the mail, and they don't care, and they don't tell the homeowner. And then nobody shows up and they still don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the.
So we probably still need to
There's
contact
like
the
getting
owner
actual
of
landowners.
these.
Yeah, you'll have to figure out who is the landowner of that section.
So I'm not saying
That-
don't
that's-
send it to them, but I'm also
Figuring
saying.
out the landowner is
hold
really,
possible.
is very easy. Figuring out who the tenants are is almost impossible, actually.
It's about 71 properties, but of those properties, I didn't say those are good. I realize that didn't have the property owners. There's, many of these properties are owned by, I would say, there's probably 30 owners of the 71 properties.
Okay.
Really? Yeah.
I looked at it once myself, I mean, there's some big property owners, and a lot of it's rental property, and they own
Right.
multiple properties.
If you look at the J.W. Williams property,
They don't-
that, they own that, the big piece that their actual building is on, but they also own about 8 properties abutting Salt Creek Highway as well. Then on the other side of Salt Creek Highway there, I just looked and there was maybe 3 landowners for the first 10 or 15 lots. So the actual number of contacts is significantly lower than the number of properties. Like the town of Bar Nunn, I think, owns 3 or 4 properties right there.
So they send a letter to the town of Alabama and see if they're
There's the
interested.
rest of the town.
Well, how about we do this, let's get Dustin and Joy, a good checklist of items, things that people might ask, and pros, cons, everything in between, and that way we can start making phone calls and find out if it's even a possibility to do it. Sound like a plan? That way, I mean, you only got like 30 landowners, so it shouldn't be too.
We wanna come up with a possible tentative date for a preliminary town hall meeting.
I think we need to find out, if we're gonna even be able to proceed first.
Thought that was the start of the meeting.
Mind if I ask a question? Sorry, I got in here late, I thought it started at 7.
You're good, man.
What is the benefit to annexing, I guess, from here up, say, as close as Port of Entry? Is that where you guys are looking for?
Just that section.
No, you can see it up here,
Is it just the, okay,
just the blue part, it's basically,
And
Just a loaf and jug.
it's down to loaf and jug and ITP, basically is what it is, so.
Oh, okay, you're not gonna go past like where Prairie and,
No, our growth boundary doesn't even extend that far anyway, so we can't go that far.
okay, okay.
It's just a housing.
So the benefits to the town, is property tax, sales tax, fuel tax. We're already, as a town, so if you look at this strip right here, right here is Howard.
Yep.
We're already, because DOT has kindly given us responsibility of this without giving us ownership of it,
Right,
thanks DOT, we're already plowing that section.
Yep.
We don't maintain it, but, so we're already plowing it, and we already provide water and sewer to all of these, so, I don't know when you got in here. So right now, we're gonna do a little history lesson.
yeah,
When we dissolved Wardwell water, and then we took it over,
yep, I remember all that.
Yep.
Yep,
when we signed it and did everything, I don't call it agreement, we'll call it an agreement. We would hold the rates even with what Bar None is charged for 5 years. And the effect of that is that they're not, special districts receive property tax, and that's how they help pay for a lot of stuff.
yeah,
We're not receiving that property tax because it just went away when Wardwell went away. And what usually happens is that a municipality who is servicing unincorporated areas or areas that are outside of their boundaries, you raise their rates, and their water rates are higher to compensate for the loss of property tax. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Did I explain that well? If I did,
yeah, no, I understand, you're just, yeah, when the property tax goes away, you gotta make money somewhere.
correct. But so right now, because we only dissolved them about 2 years, roughly 2 years ago,
Yeah,
we're not getting any of that property tax, and we can't raise the rates because of the agreement we made. This helps out the town with property tax. The other side of it is that I don't know where the police station is, but the police station is about right in this area, if I remember correctly. I think it's that one right there.
yeah,
It's currently not in the town boundaries, and we would like to
right,
put that in the town boundaries. When it was Steve's idea actually, but when we were forming the police department, it saved, rather than build a new building,
yeah,
it saved the town literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. So it was like, put in the old Wardwell building, they've already got the bulletproof glass.
Yep.
And it's almost practically set up for it.
yeah.
So it was a great idea by Steve, I think. Kudos to him.
Okay.
Huh?
Dustin said, what about this building? We went and looked at it, so.
Well, kudos to Dustin then, so anyway, that's some of the reasons right there.
Okay. So it's just right along the edge of the road, like you're not going down to the trailer park and stuff, down from the mini mart and back
No.
all that in there?
No, this is a pretty modest,
Okay,
annexation.
okay,
And ultimately, our goal is, so if you look here, right here, so if you look here, this is where the Loves is going in at, right?
Yeah.
Currently, we serve, the other thing I was gonna say, I totally spaced this. This section right here, all of this, we already provide, our fire services, medical services, and probably even police services to an extent already. So
Right.
we're already paying for this.
yeah,
And so it benefits the town to annex in some of this and make back some of that we're already putting out there. And, there's not a problem with providing mutual aid or anything like that, it's just that it costs money, is what it comes out to. It's not, none of this is free.
right,
So, but anyway, part of this is that the Loves is going in here, and maybe, hopefully, I'm not saying that this could happen, we would like to try to annex in that Loves, because we're already providing them with water and sewer. And so, that's kind of a long-term plan. I have no idea, I don't know just how it's gonna go, but that's basically the reasoning behind it.
yeah.
Make sense?
Does will Latrona County or the commissioners not, I guess, help fund anything for providing emergency services from our fire department, our police department?
Well, their funding already is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay,
And so they don't fund any part of any municipality's services. Those are up to municipalities.
Yeah, and even if they could, which they don't, they can. So with that, this is not me, bashing on anything, it's just with that cut in property tax, that affected a lot of special districts and fire districts, and they've been pretty thin in the Natrona County Fire District. Now, I mean, there's probably a lot of mitigating factors I'm not even gonna try to get into on that. But, so, no, the short version of that is they couldn't provide us help even if they had the ability to, so.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know how the legal part of that worked, you know, like if we, you know, like, we paid the sheriff's department, you know, I know the last time I knew it was like around $80,000 a year is what we paid.
Right.
That was 4 years ago, so you know, it's relatively that, you know, we paid them to be the, you know, the, law enforcement out here, so. I didn't know if, like if we shared costs or, you know, anything like that for providing emergency services, you know.
So all,
Since we're
all
all
of
closer.
the emergency service entities in Natrona County have, an agreement with each other, they all support each other on a need-be basis, but they don't recoup costs from each other.
Okay.
I mean, I don't even know if it would be possible to calculate how that would be. You know, Casper runs into Mills, Mills runs into Casper on emergency services, they both run into here.
Yeah.
I just don't, I don't even think it would be possible, for that to be accurately calculated. I mean,
No, I just didn't know how all that,
Well,
how that
frankly, if
worked.
it was done, probably Farnum wouldn't want that to happen, cause they run into Farnum a lot more than we ever run into there.
Correct.
And if I could, the part you're talking about with the sheriff's department, what that was an additional payment for a guaranteed minimum number of patrol hours.
Right.
In addition to regular coverage.
Yep.
So it was just to say, hey, we want you here more than you regularly are.
Yeah, that was a guarantee of 40 hours a week, or, yeah, with 2 officers.
So it was 40 hours however they got.
Yep.
Correct.
That answer all your questions?
Yep, yes, sir, appreciate it.
Yeah, I heard about that, that people thought we were annexing out of Coventry.
No, I hadn't heard anything, I just didn't know how far out they were going.
Just,
Yeah, this is pretty modest by town standards. I mean, I've never done an annexation before, but from everything I've been told by the people who have done it before, this is pretty cut and dry.
In fact, on that map, you can actually see the southern end of our boundary. And, yeah, we can't get anywhere near, 2026.
Yeah.
That's the.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Wow, that's it right there. That's our growth boundary right there.
Yeah.
That's as far down as we're allowed to go.
No, I just didn't know, and I was just curious, like, you know, if you did, you know, annex all that stuff from here up to the port of entry, you know, all the folks that live in that rural area on both sides of Salt Creek, like, all the additional maintenance costs, all those roads that have to be plowed with snow, because it's, technically, they are, it's like an emergency route, it's a one-way in, one-way out situation, so I didn't know what the cost difference would
Yeah, I
add
mean,
versus the tax benefit.
if we were ever gonna go that route, and I'm not saying we are, like, if we ever were though, you would wanna do it like small chunks at a time. Like, it's kinda like eating an elephant type idea. Man, I couldn't even imagine trying to take in, you know, like all this
Yeah.
too in one annexation, like
we're not showing.
yeah, we're not shy here, right?
I mean, you would have to really study the property tax and, you know, influx for revenue. You'd wanna do it just prior to a census. So that, whatever, so you could increase your sales tax.
Yep.
There'd be a lot to really look at doing that.
Yeah, 'cause I know there'd be a lot of costs in road maintenance and upkeep, snow plow, snow removal, you know, so on and so forth, cause, you know, those roads back there, the county blades them once a year, they
Yeah.
usually does.
Yeah, and I mean, if we did take them over, which, like I said, that's not even on our books right now, like, this is, like I said, this is really modest and well within what the town is capable of doing, and it would actually be beneficial to the town, I believe.
Yeah.
Like, we've got way more work to do to say, hey, this is a great idea, or, you know, let's stop it type thing, you know?
Yeah.
But if we were going to go, if you, you know, as a municipality, if you're gonna do that, you would wanna do a good job of taking care of the roads, right? So
Right.
it would cost a lot, I wouldn't say a lot of money, but it would definitely cost more money. And,
Right.
I mean, most of those roads are dirt, so you used to be running a grader on them most of the time.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, Mike said he would volunteer, so it's.
No, Mike is saying, what does any of this matter? What does any of this matter? This last 10-minute conversation? What does it matter?
Which part?
All the part where you're talking about anything south of what we're gonna do.
Right.
Going to the power plant, going to the port of entry. All that conversation didn't matter.
Well, it doesn't matter because actually south of that line is Casper's Brook boundary. So.
Yeah, but we're not
we don't
discussing
have the-
that.
We don't have the ability to go south of Melody. That's in Casper's Brook boundary, but I think what the mayor was pointing out is that if the town ever contemplated these other areas, it would require a lot of forethought because it would be expensive.
But we're not.
I was
We're
just
not
answering
right
the
now,
gentleman's
but-
question.
Yeah.
I got here late, so I didn't, it said 7 o'clock.
Mike have somewhere to be?
I get
You have
it.
somewhere to be for the next 15 minutes?
It's like,
Seriously.
we got way off track into the weeds here.
I have a
All right,
question.
well, we got 10 minutes, so is there anything that we need to wrap up with? What? Do you have something?
I'm just wondering if the residents of Bar Nunn have a voice in the annexation, or is it just the people being annexed?
Well, the hearings, that's for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah,
Those
anyway.
are the key to the hearings.
I get
We
that.
just went through that. If we do have a town, we're gonna invite everybody.
I get that, but Pat said there's a certain percentage of those being annexed.
Yes. That
And
would
it-
be just those people.
Right, so my question is, do the residents of Bar Nunn have any
Well, the
voice?
thesis
I mean-
behind it is that, people in this area who are not in Barnum right now, this would be their chance to decide whether they want to be in Barnum or not.
They're
The
not
people
answering
in
the
Barnum.
question.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Mike just said, you guys are not answering my question, which is,
You've already voted to be in Barnum if you're in Barnum.
that's correct, but do I get any say in who else gets to be in Bar Nunn?
No, you do not get a.
Thank you. That was the question I
You
was,
don't get a vote, but you could have a say at the hearing.
Yeah.
You get a say.
but they get a vote, and that's my point. That was the point I was trying to, or that's the answer, that's the question I was asking. They get to vote,
That's statute, that's not.
And it's actually, in a weird sort of way, it's the property that gets the vote.
Right.
Because the tenants of the property don't get to. It's the landowner
Mhm.
that has the vote. Or the landowner can object rather than vote.
thank you. It's like somebody knocking on my door and they want in. Just because they want in doesn't mean I have to let them in. So
But then.
that's the analogy for me. No, I get it. I'm
feel
just
like somebody wanted to
asking the
move into your
question.
neighborhood. You can't necessarily stop them from moving into your neighborhood, but you can't stop them from coming into your house. Those are two different things.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to know.
Cool. Anyway, so back to what we were talking about. So I guess the next step is now to assign tasks.
So I think the next step first is to determine who owns all the property in there, and that's easy to do. And then the next part after that is, who is gonna contact those property owners. Mail's easy enough, some other method.
I mean, if you guys are okay with calling that, I would prefer calling that, or in person, whatever. That one-on-one contact, I think is gonna have a much bigger impact, so. Let's get a list together then.
I've sent you a list of the affected property owners by the annexation, as well as the contact list for the 300-foot radius. I just emailed that to Mr. Mayor.
Perfect.
It's,
So you'll have to differentiate when you're talking to these people.
right,
Legally, we need to talk to you, but you won't be annexed in.
so
We're
we're,
gonna end up confusing them people next.
Right.
in the notification outside of the annexed area is just that, it's just a notification that that's potentially happening. So, again, they can show up and say that they don't want that to happen, but they don't get a vote, you know, they don't get to say yea or nay whether they want to be, whether they want their neighbor to be annexed, because they're just an adjacent property owner. It's just a legal requirement that you have to notify within a 300-foot radius of the affected properties. So, there's the people that can say, no, they don't want to be annexed, and then there's the people that can say, I don't want my neighbor
So
to be
technically,
annexed.
everybody outside of that, if we like the whole town, that's just a courtesy that the town, that we're providing, just being good administrators.
Right.
But by law, we wouldn't have to.
By law, you have to notify the 300-foot
Just that,
radius.
just that.
Right.
Everybody all the way north of here.
Do we have phone numbers for any of these?
No. Just their mailing addresses.
Yeah, I do see a lot of repeats in there, holy cow.
I just counted, there's approximately 74 properties and 44 owners. So there's about 30 repeats.
Okay. Cool. So, I mean, so what's our best avenue of attack on this then? I mean, if we don't have phone numbers, what's our best?
Well, let me see if we can get some phone numbers, I think we probably can.
Okay.
So I can tell you if we can find phone numbers, we'll be able to find phone numbers for some of them within the next couple days.
Businesses will be easy through the Secretary of State's
It'll
office.
be easy, because they, you know, they'll have a registered agent and all that. So we can report back and have a pretty good idea, of which ones we have phone numbers for and which we don't.
Okay.
And then there's a handful of them, more than a handful, maybe a couple dozen of people that, you know, we know. You know, there's Calling Brothers Roofing owns 5 or 6 lots down there. They're, you know, local businesses that, I mean, that the guys are doing the house. So I have their phone number right now, you know, the Shirks, the Jerry Wrestler.
Brad Russell.
Brad, yeah. Yeah, so.
Cool.
I don't think it would be too difficult to come up with the majority of the phone numbers.
Okay, cool. Well, that sounds like a plan. Let's roll. Let's roll with that then, and we'll, where we go? Just got work to do here.
I know.
I can actually call ITP, I know the owner, so I can talk to him.
So we have this hearing that includes town, you know, people from the town. If, let's say we have that hearing and people that do live in Barnum, or the vast majority of them seem to disagree with it, would that be up to us as council to basically back their opinions? Is that how that would essentially give them their vote?
So there's two, actually, basically what you're looking at is two different types of hearings, because there's one that's statutorily required, and there's the town meeting type that we were talking about. So, I guess the town meeting type lets you, you know, assess the temperature, but the public hearing, requires that you guys to issue a set of findings, and they're very specific. So, what you have to find is the annexation of the area is for the protection of the health, safety, and welfare of the persons residing in the area and in the city and town. The urban, development of the area would constitute a natural, geographical, economical, and social part of, the annexing city, bar none, and that it's logical and feasible. So what basically that would, by having people from bar none come in, that's where you're really kind of assessing some of the